Good afternoon, this is Sunshine, and I'm the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's type puzzles. Hold on, Hi, I'm Sunshine. I'm the creator of the ABCube method for solving Rubik's type puzzles. I stream on Friday evening and Saturday morning, and I would love for you guys to ask me questions. I can help you with your cube, even if I can't see your cube. If you can see me and hear me, I can help you solve your cube. So, I'm going to start by just scrambling my 7x. Today is kind of a laid-back day. Chat is hidden. Show chat. Welcome to my chat room. How do I see who's in my chat? Show viewers list. Just me. Okay. Alrighty. This is one of my favorite cubes because it's smooth and mostly silent. I believe this is a V cube. Let's see what it says. Don't know. I have been cubing since the 80s. Paused for a minute and came back. I'm not fast because that wasn't ever the direction that I tried to go in. But I can teach. I taught people. That was my claim to fame, was that I could teach people while I was in high school, middle school. Not my method. My method is new. I published it online. I published it digitally on Wix.com and at speedsolving.com in 2020. So I'm just going to sit here and do some silently solve the cube until somebody joins me. Regardless of the size of the cube, I do the edges first because that is uniform for all of the cubes. They all have 8 edges and they can all be solved the same way. Formula A brings the color to the top, and Formula B rotates the cubes that are not placed correctly. Slide first up, slide second up, slide down, and A to bring the color back to the top. Most people solve their wedges to pair them up and then place them. That's 2 steps. I don't do that. It also involves scouring the cube for a specific piece. For example, here is a yellow and green. I don't have to look for the cube for the other yellow and green. All I have to do is place this cube as I find it, and when I find the other one, I'll place it. It doesn't matter. I don't have to look for a specific cube. I just find a cube that's wrong and toss it in the direction it wants to be. This cube matches the corners. White's on this side, yellow and white are left and right, so this cube wants to go over here. Formula B does that, and there it's placed. So I just look for pieces in the middle and I place them. The 2 columns for B, the horizontal is always the top row. The red and yellow, the up and down, are first where the cube is going to end up. For example, this is green and yellow, so it's going to end up between the green and yellow corners, so this is my first up. And my second up is where it begins. So I move this piece away, up, in, second up, it's back here, reverse it, and down, and it's where it needs to be. Finish the step. Okay, here's another one. Matches the corners. It was white and green. Green matches the corners. White is this side, so I move it away. White is up, back, second up, down, and your piece has been placed. Match the corners. From the middle, match the corners, determine its direction. This is the first up. So I move this away. First up, back. This is the second up because this is the piece that we're placing. Reverse down, and there it is. There's a blue and white. It's going in blue and white. It goes between the blue and white. Up, up, down, down. There's white and orange. So match the corners, determine its direction, move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, back down. Here is red and white, red and yellow. They're together. I can treat them as one because they're together. Up, up, down, down. Here is another. Here's green to white. Green and white, it matches the corners and it goes between the white edges. So away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. But I'm going to set for the next one. So this goes here, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. This one, white and red. Red matches the corners. White is this direction, so I move it away, up, in, second up, away, down. There it is. Back, down. Here is an orange and yellow. Match the corners. Yellow goes this way, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Cubing is very relaxing for me because the cube does what it was supposed to do. The cube is always predictable and always obedient, always conforms. If you do the thing, it does the thing as well. Here is blue and yellow. Goes between the blue and yellow corners. Away, up, in, second up. There it is. Away, down, second down. Here is and yellow, matches the corners, goes in this direction, so move it away. First up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. There's a green and yellow, match the corners, goes in this direction, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Here's blue and white. Blue's in front, match the corners, white goes this way, so you move it away. First up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. And notice I'm not looking for any particular piece. I'm just looking here for anything that's white or yellow. White or yellow. Here's white and red. Move the red corners to match. White's in this direction, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There's a green and yellow. Active on top, green matches the corners. It's going in this direction, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There's a yellow, there's a white. White and orange match the corners. Going this direction. So away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Here's a white and blue. Yellow and white are left and right, doesn't matter which way. Blue and white. Blue matches the corners. White's this direction, so it's going to end up over here. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There's white and red, matches the corners, goes in this direction, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Here's a yellow and orange, match the corners, yellow's in this direction, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There's no yellow here, no yellow or white here. There's a white with a green, bring the green to the corners. White goes this way, so it's going to go there. Away, up, in, up, now it's placed. Away, down, in, down. Here's another yellow and green. Match the corners, active on top. White is not this way, it's this way, so it's going this direction. Mind you, I didn't spend my time looking for the green-yellow piece. I just looked for a piece that was in the wrong place, and I toss it where it goes. Here's a orange and white. White's on top. Orange matches the corners. White is this direction, so move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. White or yellow, there's one. Blue matches the corners. Yellow goes this way, so I move it away. First up, back, second up, reverse, down, and second down, and it is placed. Here's a white. Bring the orange to the top, to the front. White goes in this direction, so I move it away. First up, back, second up, away, down, back, down. Looking on the edges. There's no white or yellow, no white or yellow, no white or yellow. There's a white and red. Matches the corners, goes in this direction, so you move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. 1, 2, 3, 4 edges. There's one. Blue, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Orange and yellow, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, in, down. Another one. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Now, when we don't find any more yellow or white edges in the middle area, we look to see if we're complete. Yellow is and white is. Not always, though. Sometimes, say this yellow might be with the yellow and red might be where the yellow and green are, or vice versa. So if something's wrong, you place a random piece into the wrong piece, which puts the wrong piece in the middle, where it can be placed to the side. So, yellow and white are done. White now goes down. Boom. We're still working on the edges, so now we're working on the side edges. We're going to sacrifice one at a time, one yellow piece at a time, to displace a wrong piece so that I can work from the top down. So I'm going to pick, this piece is incorrect, and so I'm going to put a piece into this spot. So we move away, up, back. This is the spot. So that's your second up, away, down, in, down, and you place the piece that was here right there. Now, we are ignoring everything but the piece we're working on. So now we're going to ignore all of our yellows. Our white's going to stay down and be our baseline. We're ignoring all of our yellows except for the one piece we're working on at a time, which is the piece that doesn't have a yellow on it. So ignoring the yellows, the piece that we place down is going to work its way back up to the top as we place other pieces down. When it comes back to the top, it'll either come back correctly or it will come back to the top incorrectly. Either way, the yellow is going to come back to the top, and that's our next step. So right now, we have a blue and an orange. We're working with from the top layer to place it on the cube, and so we line up the front is the orange, so we line it up with the orange corners. We're ignoring the top corners. We're only working with the bottom of the cube now. So here's an orange. Its second color is blue. Blue is in this direction. So we move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, and our white is our guideline, second down. Okay, look at the back. Here is a red and a green piece. Red matches the corners, so that's good. Green is in this direction, so we move this piece away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. Here's a red and green piece. Rotate the cube so the red matches the corners. Corners match. Green is this direction. We're looking at the corners, tell us which direction we're going. So, away, up, in, second up, right here, away, down, second down. White is always going to reset itself. Now we have a red and a blue, so we turn the cube so that the red matches the corners. Blue is this direction, so we move it away, up, in, second up, away, down, there it is, and finish this formula second down. Okay, now the yellow made its way back to the top, as I told you it was going to. So when it does, we look to see whether the pieces on the side are correct or we need to keep going. These two, the one on this row, this layer, these two are correct, these two are correct, this is not, this one's not correct. So we're going to place one of these two oranges that are not correct yet. We're going to place one of them here. So this piece doesn't go this direction, but this one will. This one will go here. So away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down, and we look at the top. this is the cube that we're going to place next. Orange, move the cube to the front. Blue is this direction, so away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. There's an orange and green. Bring the oranges to the front. Green is this way, so this piece goes away, up, back, second up, away, down, back, second down. Yellows are set again, so we look again. The edge piece, the first layer is correct. Okay, now we look at the second layer. This piece is correct, but this one is not, so let's displace a yellow down here and start working on this layer. So this is our piece, away, up, in, this is our row, second up, reverse, down, and down. And so now, orange and blue. Rotate till the orange match the front, so we have a little triangle here, corners match the front. Blue goes in this direction, not green, so we move it away, up, in, second up, down, and the down, and the white is keeping us honest. I have a red and a blue that's on top. Turn it to match the blue corners. Determine which direction red is. Move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Another piece that has no yellow is the red and the green. Rotate till it matches the corners. Green, determine which way it's going to go. It's going to go this way. So away, up, in, second up, away, down, in, second down. Yellow came back to the top, so we look and see. Match the tops at the top. Okay, these two are correct, these two are correct, this one's not, and this one over here is not. So we're going to displace this cube where we can work on it. So away, up, back. This is the piece that's wrong, so we're going to put our orange piece there, down and down, and so now we can set this piece. It's orange and blue. Bring it to match the corners. Blue goes this direction, so we move it away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Another piece on top that's not yellow is orange and green. Bring it to match the corners, and it's heading in this direction, so away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. And our yellow made it back to the top. So both of these corners have a top. But they're not correct, so let's look and see if our side pieces are correct. These ones are correct, these ones are correct, these ones are correct, these ones are correct. So that means that this cube has a parity in it. So what we're going to do, we're going to determine which row it is. We're going to place one of this piece down, up, up, down, down, and this piece that we just placed is the piece that is the row that has the parity on it. So we're going to rotate that 1/4 turn, either direction, doesn't matter, 1/4 turn. And then we're going to place the pieces there. Up. We're going to up, down, down, orange and blue, bring the orange to the front, blue goes this way, so we move it away, up, back, up, away, down, back, down. Okay, here's a red and blue, matches the red, blue goes this direction, away, up, in, this way, up, up, down, down. Thank you. Hi, ABCube. I don't know how long you've been there. I've been distracted with my cube. All right, so here's green, orange. You face the green to the corners. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Set the top. And now, the only way when it hasn't been set is the middle row. You're following along with your 6x6. Awesome. Do you have any questions for me? Because I'm happy to answer any questions. I have a 6x6. I can go get my 6x6 if you'd rather, but I've got my 7x right now. Okay, so most people would have already set the center. I did not because I'm showing you how the center works. If the center is off by a 1/4 turn, you end up with a parity. If it's off by an even number of parallel turns, I'm spamming edge commutators. Okay. All right. Here's a white. And here's the blue. So the next corner, so. All right. So I move this white out of the way. Move the piece down, formula A, and then I'm going to set the edges. Yeah, parity is always only caused by the invisible center being 1/4 turn off. So if you can memorize a parity algorithm, or you can just set the corner, rotate 1/4 turn, and resolve, and then you don't have to memorize the long parity algorithm. And this method is geared for beginners. So the only formulas you have to memorize are the A and the B. And I just teach how to use when to use the A and when to use the B and in which direction. And so there's nothing that they need to memorize other than the A and the B. For a cuber, I'm sure my way is probably very boring. But for a beginner, for a non-cuber, I find that it's easier to just do formula B one time, rather than, and then if it doesn't fit, if it's not done, you do it again, rather than having to memorize this way if it's clockwise, this way if it's corner clockwise, etc. So. Okay. Do you usually do the reduction method? Do you do your centers first and then pair the edges? Oh, I'm a bit out of frame. Thank you for telling me. Okay. All right. You can do formula A. Okay, you can do formula A for only for one side, because if you do formula A, it changes every corner. So if I wanted this white to go up here, I can move them out of the way, move it down, back into the way, and move it up. But I don't generally teach that because I find it's easier to just be consistent with everything for when you're dealing with newbies. Okay, so let's do this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Down. 1, 2, 3, 1. This is me just doing formula A for the first side. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and sides again. Okay. My turn sequence does not, well, Formula A will disrupt the centers, but Formula B, because it's a mathematical zero, only moves the 3 pieces that I'm intending to move. And so it doesn't matter whether I'm doing the corners first or the corners last, or the, it doesn't matter what I do first. It still uses Formula B, and it only displaces 3 pieces. At the end, it looks like 2 pieces. Here's an okay, so I'm going to working on this piece, these 2 pieces together. It goes up, rotates to a different column, goes up again, reverse, down, and it moved this piece, and this piece. Well, when working on the edges, yes. So if your centers are already done, and you're working on the edges, you're not going to mess up. You won't mess up your centers. Your centers stay where they are, unless you do Formula A. I don't like doing Formula A for the centers because it messes up the centers. But most of the time, you are preserving what you've already done, regardless of what order you did it. Okay, so line up, over, second up, down, down. Yes, the Formula A brings the color to the top. Formula B moves things around. Formula B, if you're always uses the top row, but if your columns are the outer columns, then it works on the corners. If your columns are an outer column and an inner column, it works on the edges. If there are 2 inner columns, it works on the centers. So but it's still Formula B. It's still up. Slide up, slide down, slide down. So I call that just one formula. Here we go. Up, moving with this piece, move it into a second row. Up again, down, down. So when you're working Formula B on the edges, on the centers, it doesn't mess up the edges. When you're working it on the edges, it doesn't mess up the centers. So however you like to do it first, whatever order you like to do, Formula B is not going to mess up what you've already done or what someone else has already done. Okay, so so here's a white. I know you know what I'm doing, but I'm talking through anyway. So I line it up to what's going to come down, and it's the 3 pieces that are going to be moved are this one, and this one. So this one will still look yellow, but it's this piece that's going here and this piece that's going here. So we go up, down, down. It's at the top. And I has a kitty. I have a kitty. Fluffer bunny. Hey, 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 go. Go. Kitty, kitty, go. You're such a good kitty. Kitty's name is Fluffer Bunny. All right. At this point in time, you just pick a cube that's wrong and toss it in the direction it wants to be. Here's a red cube. It's on front, wants to be on the top. It goes up, over, up, back, down, and yes, it's just a commutator, and so it doesn't mess up anything up to the very last step. I can show it. Do an example. Formula B on a 4x4 for the corners. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down, and it moved these 3 corners, and it moved this one here and these 2 to the side. So at this point in time, if I do Formula A, to bring them back to the top. Bring the yellow back to the top so you can see whether they're in the right position or not. I know a cubist knows intuitively, but this is for beginners. So I brought the yellow to the top, and I'm looking at the corners to see whether they match. And one side will match. Either they will all match, none of them will match, or one of them will match. The side that matches goes to the back, and I do formula A again, up, from B again, up, up, down, down, out, then formula A again to bring the corners back to the top. So you can do the corners first, or you can do the corners last, it really doesn't matter. And when you're doing the centers, okay, now I'm going to do edges. Up, up, down, down. It just moves these three, the centers have not moved. Up, up, down, down, and again, up, up, down, down. The difference is that if I do the centers first before I do the edges, and then I have a parity, the parity is solved by rotating a quarter turn, which means for that layer I'm going to have to redo the edges, the centers again. That's why I don't do the centers first. I do the centers after I've done the edges, so that I don't have to redo them. Okay, and so from here on out, it's just pick a cube, throw it in direction, and repeat. I don't spend my time looking for, oh, where is the orange corner? I just say, here's a red corner, doesn't belong here, here's a red, doesn't belong here, throw it in this direction. So this is I've kind of gotten to the point where it's just rather rinse, repeat. Do you want to look at a 3x3x9 instead? Or do you want me to keep going with the 7x? You don't have a 3x3x9. This is my favorite. You have a 3x3x7? I have no idea how my brain doesn't work that way. How would a 3x3x7 work? I'm sure this works with yours. If you're 3x3, yeah, this will work with a 7, but I don't have a 7 and I haven't tried it. Do you want to get your 7 and we'll work on it, or do you want me to should I scramble? Do you have questions for me? It's the same as what you're holding, but the middle are 3 layers. Oh, the middle 3 layers. So this is, okay. So just like this is banded, just like this is banded and this is not. The 3x3x7 has the centers. So when you're doing your 3x3, your 3x9, when you're finished, when you do as much as you can of the corners, the edges, like a 3x3, your top is going to be solved, your bottom is going to be solved, and the middle is going to be solved in the band. But these edges are not going to be. These ones are maybe randomized. Is that what I'm understanding? Am I understanding that right? Okay, let me show you how I learned the 3x3. I got the 3x3x9. The Eden. I got it by 9, and I tried to learn it, and I went online and I looked at everybody's tutorials, and they all had this big old long sequence, and they said this is going to move these things around, so hold your cube so that will be advantageous, and then do this algorithm, and then set your cube and see what to do next. And I'm like, I don't understand what that means. So I took a big cube, like a 3x3x, like my 7x or my 9x. I think it was my 9x. And I said, because the 3x3 is banded, what happens if I can't just use a formula B because it's one row over and then I can't turn it. So what if instead of 1, I do 2 every time? So when I do 2 every time, then okay, let's do this. Let's show what formula B does on a 9x with a 3x3, the Eden. Let's work with just one column so that we can see what's happening. So I'm going to do formula B. I'm going to go top, top, first up, top. This is the second up, first down, second down. Okay. Now, if I do this 6 times, it's going to go back to normal because that's how the mathematics of the cube work. down. But this is what happens when you do it 2 times. When you do it, if you do it an odd number time, the edges get messed up. And an even number time, and the edges set themselves back again. Up, up, down, down. So this is 4. So if you're working on the edges, you do it once. If you're working on the centers, you do it twice, and it will solve itself. Let me do this one more time. Up, up, down, down, again, up, up, down, down. So when I'm doing the 3x9, I do the corners, the side edges, the yellow and white edges, and then the center row, the one that's banded on yours and not on mine. And then I just turn it yellow and white or left and right, and I start working on, I use Formula B on setting the edges. Now Formula B, I'm going to do it one more time, it's going to show you, it swaps these 2 back and forth each time, which is why an odd number is out of place and even number is back in. But the other 2 that it switches are this piece right here, the front bottom, and the left front bottom, and the top back left, back right. So these 2 pieces right here are going to switch. So these 2 switch, and these 2 switch. I'll do it. Up, up. Yes, it's all a commutator. It's all Formula B from here on out. Okay, so that moved the edge pieces, the center pieces. We're ignoring the centers. It moved these pieces here and this pieces here, and these 2 flipped. So if I do it again, up, up, down, down. So that sets the edges. So I do the edges first. I do all the edges first. And what I do is I find a left piece on the left here that I find a piece that goes on the right, and I place it, and I just keep placing things from the right to the left until the left side is solved. And then either the right side is automatically solved as well, or there are parities, and if it's a parity, then I solve that the same way I do on this cube or any other. The parity is because there's an invisible center that's a quarter turn off. So if it's one, I work on them together. So whichever one has the parity, I just turn it 1/4 turn on the left to fix that, and then I solve again, from moving from the right to the left, and then I will solve the center later on. Was that confusing, or did that make sense? 3x3x2. I don't have a 3x3x2, but this is 3x3 by X. So yeah, so after I used my Formula B to figure out what happened, then I had solved the 3x3x9 overnight. But it took me literally a month watching someone's video every day to try to figure out how it worked, and I felt so stupid because I couldn't follow the videos. So here, the edges are done. The centers need to be fixed. Formula B, done twice, is going to move this piece, and one of the top pieces. So, up, up, down, down, and again, up, up, down, down. So yeah, it's just commutations, and you just do it. It's just an order of operation. You just do. I work from the outside in, like the cage method. So I do the corners, and then the edges, and then the centers. So, do you have any other questions for me? When did I get into cubing? I got into cubing when it was brand new in '81. My brother had it a year or so before, um, and he came to visit, and he was showing me, and I thought it was magnets. I'm like, I don't understand. How do you, what do you, and so he demonstrated that you can go this way and this way and this way. And I was like, how do you do it? Show me, show me. He's like, I haven't figured it out yet. I can't do it. So I waited until it became big, and once it was on all of the stores, and there was books on all of the stores as well. I did not stay interested for all that time. I solved the 3x3, and I started teaching the 3x3 in my high school classes. I was in high school, I started teaching the 3x3. And then once you know how to do it, then it's, most people were looking at, well, what can I do with it now? What kind of patterns can I make, et cetera, and so forth. And then the first world record came out. It came on TV, and I watched it, and I thought I was pretty good because I could solve my cube in under 3 minutes. I thought that was pretty good. And then the first world record was 23.42 seconds, something like that. I could have that wrong. But I looked at that, and I put my cube down. I didn't touch it for a month because I'm like, there's no way I can compete with that. So, but then I picked it up. So instead of going for faster, I got into the teaching people. I started teaching people. My friends would all had a cube, and they'd come to me on recess, come to me on lunchtime, and I'd say, hey, what do I do now? And I would show them, and then their friends started coming to me, and it's like, hey, what do you do now? What do I do now? And so I was showing them. And then, by unspoken agreement, nobody said anything, but suddenly my bullies stopped bullying me and started getting in line to ask me what to do. So I tamed all of my bullies because they all wanted to learn how to do the Rubik's Cube, so I started teaching them. So that was fun. That was how I survived my high school years, because I had a cube. I knew how to do it. Everywhere I went, everywhere, people would say, did you take the stickers off or did you take it apart? Because at that point in time, that was the only recognized way to solve the cube. And I'd say, no, I really solved it. They're like, what? No. And they'd take it from me and scramble it and give it back to me. And of course, they thought I had to exactly reverse what they did, or I couldn't do it. And the fact that I didn't care what they did, it just solved the cube, made me popular among a certain group of people. So then there was only a 3x3 at that point in time. When the 4x4 came out, I'm like, oh, Daddy, you have to find me a 4x4. I need it. And so we couldn't find it anywhere because it wasn't as popular as the 3x3. So he finally got me one. I got it for Christmas. I started trying to figure out how to solve it. I got halfway done, from half of it done, and the cube broke, and I couldn't fix it, and I couldn't put it back together again because I was just a teenager. I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to leave it unsolved in my head for several years before I had a chance to get another one. And so I got the 4x4. I learned how to do the 4x4. I got the 5x5, and I'm trying to figure out how to do the 5x5. Where's my 5? And by this time, the internet's around. So I went to the internet and I looked up how to solve the last step. If I learned the commutation for just one of the pieces, and so I wrote that down in pictures on a piece of paper, because it was always confusing to me, the standardized notation, how right plus is parallel to left minus, So I just drew the arrows, 5 arrows and 5 arrows this way, and I drew the arrows, and I drew how it worked, and I said, okay, that's really one row and 2 columns. What happens if I do that 1 row and 2 columns here? What is it actually doing? What am I actually seeing? So I did it on here, on the 2x2, and realized, oh, that moved 3 of my corners. Well, I have these 5, 6 algorithms that will do that, and if I can throw these ones away and just keep this one, because if I do it once, if I do it once or twice, it's gonna, if I don't have to remember this one for clockwise and this one for counterclockwise, I can just do it once or twice. And so that I was able to mentally strike out all of the algorithms that worked on corners. And I'm like, well, what happens if I do it the other way? And so I worked with these two columns, same up, up, down, down, and it showed me that I was working with edges. I'm like, oh, well, that means I can throw away these algorithms that work with edges if I can have one that does it. And if I just do it, I do it. I don't have to remember left or right. I can just do it once or twice, and I will be done. So from that, I started working on how much can I do with just formula A and B. You know, it's like I look at this and I know how to solve this, but what if I don't, what if that's not, so I was writing my own book, and so it's like, I can only use A and B. I can't do anything else that I know. And then my son was working on, my son was working on a void cube, and he got the parity on the void cube. He's going, wait a minute, it's a 3x3. You can't have a parity on a 3x3. Why can you have a parity on 3x3? And he's like, oh, the invisible is off. The center is off. Center's off a quarter turn. I don't know which way to make and he dropped it. He's like, forget that. Well, you don't have to care if it's off, which way it's off. You don't have to care that I don't have to care that this red is here. If I put this one here, as long as if it's off by an even number of turns, it can still be solved. If it's off by an odd number of turns, then you get a parity. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. So then that's how I solved the parity. Also, I took the parity algorithm. It was like 22, 27 moves long, and I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I translated it into arrows, and then I treated it like a logarithmic, like an algebraic equation. And when there was a top left on one end and a top right on the other end, I'd cross them off. And so I narrowed it down to the only thing that it boiled down to was in the center was 1/4 turn. And then, you know, the reverse. You do this big old long complex thing, you make a quarter turn, and then you undo the big old long complex thing, and that's how you solved your parity. So I'm like, okay, so I took my parity, and I did a quarter turn, and I solved it again, and it solved. So I said, instead of memorizing the parity, you don't have to memorize the parity. Just do 1/4 turn and solve it again. So yes, I'm very definitely a minimalist. Yes, it's not plus or minus, but back in '81 it was plus or minus. We had not standardized it yet. It wasn't R and R prime. It was plus or minus for me. I have the book that I have the book. I bought it again that I memorized from. David Singmaster was the guy who wrote the book. It was called The Simple Solution to Rubik's Cubes, and that was before, of course, with a 4x4 they didn't name the center, because they said the center never moves. Just work around the center. Did you really? I am so amazed. I'm so impressed. I have not met, but someone told me that my method seemed to be similar to the Verasano method from 1981. And I'm like, let me find out what that is. And so I looked up Verasano. You had pizza together. That's so awesome. I looked up Verasano, and Jeffrey Verasano was the guy I'd watched set the first world record. You're why I put my cube down for a month. So I befriended him on Facebook and said, hey, you know, I really like, I'm in basic fan mail kind of stuff, you know, I'm really impressed, and here's my method, and what are you doing? And so he showed me that his graphs and paperwork from back in 1980, back when he solved it. David Singmaster did pass away last month. I read that, and I was silent moment for him. Yeah. So Jeffrey Verasano he now runs a pizzeria, and he still has his plays with cubes, and kids come into his pizzeria with their cube, and he'll teach them and play with them, and you know, he'll copy their scrambled cube. You know, instead of solving their scrambled cube, he'll make his solved cube match their scrambled cube, and so I'm just like, he showed me pictures of him and Erno Rubik because he was the world record holder. So when the 4x4 came out, yes, when the 4x4 came out, because he was the 3x3 record holder, they invited him to the toy convention and said, "Here, this is the new toy that we're going to be having." And he let him play with it, and he played with it until he realized, okay, there's a parody. There's something that happens here that doesn't happen there. Wow. There's something that happens there. And so they took the cube back and said, "Okay, you can't take it with you. We need it back now." And they sent him home without the cube, with the cube unsolved in his head. So he sat down and he took, with graph paper and colored pencils, he solved the parody without having the cube in his hand. And I'm like, wow. So he showed me that. He actually wrote a book for the Rubik's Revenge, and went to his people who'd published his 3x3 book, and they said, "No, we think the Rubik's Cube is kind of, it's kind of had its day. We think the Rubik's Cube isn't going to be popular anymore, so we're not gonna publish your book. We think Rubik's Cube is done for." So I got to see his pencil sketches and stuff because he befriended me on Facebook, and so it was impressive. I was excited. Exactly. When it first came out, it was the Rubik's Revenge. The Rubik's Revenge was not invented by Rubik. And the puzzle itself was also not invented by Rubik. The 2x2 existed before Erno made his cube. Yeah, but it was held together by magnets. It wasn't held together. So what Erno patented was the way of holding the cube together. And there's more than one way of holding the cube together. So, but to follow he followed the naming convention and just called it the Rubik's Revenge, when he could have called it anything, and which is why all cubes are now Rubik's, even though they're not Rubik's brand. And I know this is now they're just called 5x or 7x or whatever, or the 3x3x7 that you have. Yeah. The 2x2 history. Yeah, that's part of the book that I wrote. The manuscript that I wrote had a brief history of the Rubik's Cube in it, and the community calls them speed cubes now. Okay, yeah. But when in '81, there weren't any speed cubes. There weren't any finger tricks. You couldn't just think something and have it done. It took like 2 hands to make each turn, which is why the 20 seconds was. If the speed cubers. Okay, if the speed cubers had to work on the Rubik's Cube itself, the Rubik's brand cube, we wouldn't be at 5 seconds now. I know that for sure. But yeah, I know it's not called the Professor's Cube anymore, but on Wikipedia it still is. On Wikipedia you can search for Professor's Cube, and it covers up the 5x5x5 cube. And I'm actually one of the paragraphs on the Wikipedia page is my ABCube method, because it's the only beginner's method for the 5x5. Everyone else says, if you want to learn the 5x, well, first you have to learn the 3x3, and then you have to learn the 4x4, and then you have to do the, and I'm like, when I'm teaching people, I have a 2, a 3, a 4, and a 5, and I just put the cubes at random into their hands and say, here, we're going to work on the corners. And when the corner's done, I say, okay, here, now do those corners. Okay, now do these corners. So they're solving all 4 cubes at once, so there's not that mental breakdown of I can't do it. I have not ever gone to any competitions, not yet. I think that'd be so much fun though. That would be so much fun though. Now that I've got a name for myself, I think I would like to do that. I could not really compete. My fastest is about an average of 1.5 minutes. I think you have to be under a minute in order to compete. Is that right? But I'd love to be able to just I love seeing a cube in the wild. Local for you. I'm in Utah. I don't know where local is for you. Mega Minx in a 5x5. But when I see a cube in the wild, there's just a commonality. It's like hey, we're both nerds in the same way. I was at church, a strange church, last month, and kid with blue hair was walking around and had a cube in his hand, and so I walked up to him and tapped him on the shoulder and held up my 5x5, and it was just, you know, instant communication. Wow, we can do this, we can do that, you know. That's pretty cool. I can't, you know, I'm just, it's nice. There's just, cubists are, there's just everyone, they're just nice. Cubists are just nice. CFOP method now. I looked up the Ortega method earlier this month, and it's like, wow, that's a lot of memorizing. I could not learn that. Ortega is just 2x2? I wasn't sure. Yeah. So my new friend with the 3x3 said, I haven't learned the 5x5 yet. I still have to learn the algorithm, the parity algorithms. And I said, oh, you don't have to learn the parity algorithms. He said, yeah, I haven't learned them yet. And I'm like, oh, you don't have to learn them. He goes, what do you mean? So I showed him how a parity is just a 1/4 turn and then a resolve. And so that was fun. I love the 5x5 too. This is the mini because it's the right size to fit in my in a box for my cubes. I have a 3x3 that I've turned into a necklace that I wear most of the time. But I like my 7x. It's for me, it's very calming to do my cubing. It's almost like it's a meditation kind of thing, because it's the cubes are very predictable. If you always do the same thing, you always get the same results. So it's yeah, 2 7x sitting on my desk right now. But once I got this, this became my new favorite. And then so I've got this one now. Oh, and the only thing with I guess with the banded, you don't have to pay much attention to that. But if you, because let me show you. You have to pay attention to which way the bands are going on the 9x9, because you can get it turned the wrong way. So but if it's banded, then the center, this green would be just like this white one. It's banded, so you don't have to worry about lining it up correctly. But when you're working with this one, before you start solving, you just have to make sure, like, if it's randomized, you have to look at it and say, okay, if this is the top, then the bottom has to go the same direction, and then all of these have to be turned so that they can go horizontal, sorry, not diagonal. So you have to set all of those before you start, and then you start doing formula B to move cubes to the top, because it's a mathematical 0, so it doesn't ever turn the center. You have to set the center before you start and then turn the center. What's a bit more than a 3x3x9? Oh, this one? Again, you just have to make sure that that the center is going to be able to turn when you get to that direction. So the very first step is just make sure that your centers are all horizontal. Is the outmost centers are also cut? The outmost centers. Oh, these ones, yeah, these ones, like that. So 3x3x9. It's basically just a 9 with some banding. The void cube does not turn really smoothly. It reminds me of original cubes. Okay, so thank you for spending time with me, Doug. It was a lot of fun for me. Do you want me to do anything with this 3x3, or should I? Are you not interested? Should I solve the 9? Should I solve the 9? The void cube, it uses different colors, and it is gimmicky. The gimmick is that the center can't be seen, which means it allows for a parity, which you can't have with another one. Okay, all right, I'm gonna do this one then. So, if I just solve it from here, well, I'll demonstrate. Let's do okay. I'm looking to see if the edge centers are all turned the right way. They are. And so now I'm looking for yellows to bring to the top. Formula A brings my chosen color to the top. And twist it if it's already there. Okay, so there's the yellows. If none of them match, normally I do Formula B and then Formula A to bring it to the top, and then one of them matches and I do Formula B and bring it to the top. However, if none of them match, that's a real simple shortcut right there. Just B2, R2, B2, front, right 2, front 2, right 2. Okay, up, up, down, down, Formula A to bring white to the top again. Okay, now the whites are correct to each other, the yellows are correct to each other, and I turn their top until they're correct to each other, set the middle. Okay, now yellow and white are left and right, and I do from the center, from the middle, out. Okay. And what you're seeing is that I didn't really, the edges are not really very scrambled because I didn't give it a good scramble at the beginning. So when I'm actually scrambling it, I will solve it incorrectly for a few steps. By shape. I'll solve it incorrectly just by shape. Okay, so I'll do this. I'll solve it by shape, but not by color, and then I'll twist the centers randomly, and then I'll solve it for real. That way, when I get to the last step, it's messed up and pretty, you know, fun, more fun. All right, so scramble again. Yeah, I watched the movie about the speed cubers, the two speed cubers that were competing at the high level, and it said that that a speed cuber will sometimes memorize up to around 300 different algorithms just to be able to get them fast. So I'm very definitely went the other direction. The guy that sold me the computer so that I could stream, he's like, "What are you doing? What are you going to stream?" And I told him it was the Rubik's Cube, and he says, "Oh, what's your time? How fast are you?" I said, "I'm about a minute and a half, but I can teach in about an hour and a half." And he said, "Oh, I'm 11 seconds." I'm like, "That is so awesome. I'm so impressed that everybody can be so fast. If it's faster than my eyes can follow, it's just magic trick to me." 300 might be an exaggeration. I don't know. That's just what I heard. But after you learn CFOP, oh yeah, mirrors and stuff, but after you learn CFOP, then you learn RU, and then you learn other things, and then you learn, you know, and then you get into computers, the faster, the shorter number of moves, theoretically the faster you are, but when I use the mirrors and parallels of A and B, I was about a minute and a half before I created the ABCube method, and doing the ABCube method, I'm still about a minute and a half. So it's about the same for me. Yes, turns per second. I have the GoCube. I bought the GoCube when it came out, and it helps you analyze your solve time and your solve method, and it helps you see where you are pausing, where you need work on, you know, which section you need work on. So it looks at my solve, and it keeps trying to figure out what solve I'm using because it doesn't recognize my solve. And so it gives you a little pie chart that says it took you this many turns per second, this many turns to do step A, your step 1, and this many turns to do step 2, and this many turns to do step 3. And it can't ever figure out what I'm doing because I do the corners first, and then I do the side edges. So it suspects that it says, okay, it took you 100 moves to do your first 4, your white flower, your white daisy. But then it took you 0 moves to do the white edges because the white edges are already done. And so it's like it does not know what I'm trying to do. Great. Okay, so cross. Yes. The white cross. Okay, so I solve this as if it were 3 by 3, and then I have, okay, so the top is solved, the bottom is solved, and there's this thin line in the middle is solved. On your 7 by, these would be just one solved, like a 3 by 3. Okay, so then I work on the edges. I put my white, yellow and white left and right, and I work on the edges. And same stream. I had help setting up my stream. I'm really happy. Okay, so I'm on this column. This is orange and green. So I'm looking for orange and green on the right side that might want to move to the left side. Okay, so these two want to be over here, and this one is correct over here, so I'm going to place a correct piece over here to make pieces over here I can work with. So I'm going to put these two pieces here, these three pieces here, and the way that I do that, I told you that these two flip and these two flip, so I'm going to put the space front down, and I'm going to put the pieces back left, back right. So these two pieces are going to move. These are also going to move, but I don't care. So up, up, down, down, and looking down here, I got two of them right and one of them is wrong. So now I'm going to work here between the red and the greens. So I'm looking at all of these pieces here. Here's red and greens. All of these three pieces here are supposed to be over here, so I put this piece down, the space down, the pieces to the back, and I do formula B. Up, up, down, down. Okay, so those are correct. Now I look here between the red and the blues. 1, 2, 3. Okay, these are supposed to go here. These are supposed to go here, and this one I'll put over here just to make this one more accessible. So the space goes down, the pieces go to the back. So these are going to switch. Up, up, down, down, and there I'm making progress. So now let's look here between the orange and blue. Okay, all right, these want to be here, so the space goes down, the pieces go to the back. Formula B. Up, up, down, down, and those are correct. Now we're looking for only one piece here. 1, 2, 3. This piece wants to go here, so the space goes to the back, and the space goes down, piece goes to the back. These two are going to switch. Up, up, down, down. Okay. This piece goes here, down into the back, slide up, down, down. Okay, so here, all of my left side edges are done. So I look at the right side. There's red. I'll move that to the red. These two are not matches. The oranges match, so that's good. The oranges are matched, so that's good. So orange, orange. Okay. All right. Okay, so these oranges are correct. This red one is also correct. So I'm moving the red up to where the oranges are. So they're correct. So I look at the opposite side, and yes, they all have a parity. So I look over here at these three. These three go to this loop. I could just fix my parity this way, but that gets confusing, and sometimes I undo my parities and my correction. So on this side, I'm going to make a quarter turn, and then I'm going to do formula B again to place these things again. So it's going to be a multiple of 5 times because. Okay, so all right, so I put this right here. So put it between the red and the blues. It's going to go right here, so this piece goes, space goes down, piece goes to the back. Formula B, up, up, down, down. Okay, now blue and oranges want to go here, space goes down, pieces go to the back. Formula B, up, up, down, down. These want to go here, space goes down, the pieces go to the back. Up, up, down, down. Last piece to set. Up, up, down, down. Now we check and see whether, and now the parity is gone, so the edges are correct. Yes, doopity dig out your 3x7. Have fun with it. It's you can do it with just the AB commutations here. You don't have to. Doesn't have to. So then you want me to do? Should I do the centers as well, or are we done? Are you guys bored? Okay, here is super dusty. Okay, I'm working on there. I've placed the white pieces. That was easy to place. Here's my yellow pieces. Okay, the yellow pieces want to go up here. So up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Time. Up, up, no. Okay, let's go up, up, down, down. One more. I'll have to make this one here. Okay. Up, up, down, down. Up, 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 down, down. Okay. Okay. All right. So let's see. I messed up my edge. I did not do. I did not do a full double. All right, let's go back to my white side. Okay. This piece goes here, down and back. Doing the edges again, up, up, down, down. This piece goes here, space goes down, up, up, down, down. I was doing a shortcut to place my yellow centers, and that messed up my, I was not supposed to do that. So, okay, so now we have just one parity right here. So I do, just instead of all the three of these, I just do this one right here. And then I fix it. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down, and one more, up, up, down, down. Okay, now the centers, the white and yellows are correct, the edges are correct, I can just work on the centers now, so. Up, up, down, down, and again, centers are times 2 so that the edges don't get messed up. Okay, here's these blues. They're going to go up here. I could do them together, but then I would get an orange down here and have to get the red one, so I'm going to do them separately. So I'm going to do this one first. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Okay. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. All right. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. All right. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. I almost didn't do the second up there. Almost made a mistake. Up, up, down, down. So yes, it's very minimalist. I only use A and B. Drenching it in lube now. For the first cubes, we would take them apart and wash them in water and then put them back together again, and then it's like, you know what, it's not as, the dust that came from breaking the cube in was kind of its own lubricant, and so when we took it apart and washed it with water, then it wouldn't be as smooth. So we would take baby powder and we would pop it open like so. The blue and the orange piece would pop open. And put baby powder in it and close it up and then scramble it to get the baby powder in everywhere. And then solve it. So that was what we did. We just used baby powder. Okay, let's finish this. Okay. Up, 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 down, down, again, up, up, down, down, set the top. All right. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. All right. Two more. Up, up, down, down, up, up, down, down. So the ABCube method works on everything that is an n by n by n, but it doesn't necessarily work on square one, down, down. It does not necessarily work on shape changers or banded things, except as already explained. Okay, that's done. I'll do this later. Do you have any more questions for me, Doug Cube? I'm going to be back here tomorrow, 10 my time. It's 7:30 my time right now, so whatever that time is for you, you're welcome to come and join me again. It's been fun talking to you. Do you have any more questions before I log off? All right, maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, bye.